2014 Ford Galaxy 2-liter TDCi. Just a quick video how to remove starter motor, which is down there. This video can be applied to few different cars that have this engine. It can be Volvo, some Land Rovers. Pop this engine cover off, just pull it off. First, what we are going to do is free up this area. We remove this cover, we unclip this oil feeding pipe, and we're gonna remove this plastic intake. It's pretty simple, it's not as scary as it looks. We're gonna remove this wire, 3 bolts here, we remove this cup, and then there are 3 bolts for the intake. One is here, 13mm, another one is on this side here, that one there is 10mm, and one right under this one. There is one just underneath here, over there, holding up black plastic. That's 13mm as well. So 1, 2, and one here, that one there, 13mm, this one. This cover normally is held on 2 bolts and 1 nut on this side, but nevertheless, remove it. And then it's held by a clip here. We removed it already, but just pull out this plug out of here so it's loose. Now we freed up the space. Now we have a clamp here with a little bolt, so we're gonna loosen this clamp and remove this air intake pipe from this plastic business, and we'll try to move this plastic business aside. Just to keep this plastics in place while we pulling pipe off, I'm gonna put one of these bolts on. Here it goes, there we go. The pipe came off. Now we're gonna remove this fuel line just to give it some way. So we pull this in a little bit out, and then we press on the remaining white bit, and then it just simply comes off. It might leak some little diesel. It's not a big deal. We have a tissue underneath. This one is away. We have one more connector here. We are going to disconnect it. There we go. And now we take the intake out. Easy peasy. And of course, when we are dealing with starter motor or alternator, we have to disconnect battery. This is our negative lead. You can do that, but in my experience, when you undo it, there's lots of sparks while you undoing it. Alternatively, we can do positive lead. Just undo this one, put some insulation so its battery is disconnected. Disconnect the battery. So now with battery disconnected, we need to disconnect electrical connections for our starter motor. These two bolts on the back of solenoid. One is main wire, that rusty one is the main wire that goes, live wire, goes to the starter motor, and another one is to control the ignition. So for these connectors. So remove these two nuts here. So easy accessible from the top. Look at that, with this removed, no mess about. Apart from these two 13mm nuts, we have a little 10mm here, which holds all this business. So we're gonna remove this nut as well, little 10mm nut, this one here. It was a bit fiddly to get it off, but we got it off. So now we can remove the business off this wiring. So now we have left with 3 bolts that hold starter motor. 1, 2, and one more just there. And we're gonna get access. We'll move these pipes aside a little bit, they're not in the way. So we're gonna undo these 1, 2, and 3 bolts. 3 13mm bolts. You just move these pipes aside, figure out. For the bottom one, we're gonna use spanner. The bottom bolt on a starter has a sticking out bit with a thread. So what we're gonna do, there is not enough space to fit proper socket with a proper ratchet. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna use ring spanner, 13mm, and then because it's quite tight, we're gonna use extension with another spanner to give it a bit of leverage. Like that. Not sure if you can see. And then there we go, it goes. There we go. Now we have a combined tool that, oh yeah. Now with all 3 bolts out, these are our 3 bolts. The bottom one that has this sticking out bit, that's why we had to use spanner. So the starter motor is all loose now. It's the matter of wiggling it out of there. So here comes the starter motor in a moment. There you go, starter motor. I have a special video about starter motor, how to fix it, how to test it and fix it. See a link in description. It's on Volkswagen, but the principle is the same. It has a solenoid and it has a motor that turns your wheel. Solenoid is a connector that pushes this sprocket out to start, and then it goes back in. So this is our starter motor. When you put in starter motor back on, make sure these contacts are clean for those wires that are inside coming from the car. So this must be very well contacted, because that's important. Big currents going through here. Once you've tested it, if you need to replace it, just do the steps in reverse sequence. This is how you do starter motor for Ford engine.